Family, welcome back to my channel. As the saying goes, reality is often stranger than fiction. Okay? And I would just like to say in this particular story, it is unbelievable that this would take place. But in Tanzania recently, they received some imported coronavirus testing kits. Okay? And so the leader of Tanzania, who is obviously a wise individual, had an inkling that is not uncommon in the black community. Okay, many of us have premonitions. It's unexplainable, but we have premonitions that cause us to investigate before we make an action. All right, that is a very African thing. It is still true today. Our brother decided that he wanted to test the accuracy of the kits that were imported. All right, they are not revealing which country they came from, but for some reason our brother felt he needed to test the accuracy of the kits. Okay, and so our brother decided to use a pawpaw fruit, which is native to Africa. He used a pawpaw fruit. He used a sample from a goat, and he used a sample from a swan, right? And so they applied these samples to the coronavirus test kits, right? And would you believe that a pawpaw fruit and a goat and a swan tested positive for coronavirus? Okay, family. This set off alarm bells in my mind because clearly there is some deliberate attempt to spread this infection. Okay, whether the kits are deliberately contaminated, whether the kits are deliberately rigged to bring about a positive coronavirus result remains to be seen. But clearly, one of these is the case. Okay, because after these samples proved to have coronavirus implications, the president of Tanzania suspended all coronavirus testing, and they're not revealing which country, but I believe that they want to test the accuracy of all of their kits. And clearly, this is actually, kind of indicating that something erroneous, something untoward is taking place in regard to the medical fraternity and these test kits. All right. Now, I believe that because the numbers are not as catastrophic as certain characters would like, I believe that some people are trying to deliberately contaminate personal protective equipment. They're trying to deliberately contaminate test kits in order to spread this contagion even further and for a longer duration of time. Okay, now this is no doubt to ensure that the agenda of, I guess, um, global vaccination continues. And many people are wondering why there's so much speculation going on about these vaccines, but you have a lot of activities that are taking place like this. Also, in other news, before I close this video, a coronavirus researcher in Pittsburgh, an Asian person whose name is Bing Lu, was recently killed in a murder suicide or an apparent murder suicide in front of his home. Okay, a close friend of his apparently it's being speculated that his close friend killed him and then walked outside to his car, sat down, and inflicted a gunshot wound to his own head, killing himself. Okay, now for many people, this is obviously um, not just an isolated or random event. These things clearly indicate that there are some individuals who would like for this process to be even more difficult and are even sabotaging the research that was actually exposing the nature of the, I guess, the proteins and the structure of proteins in this particular virus. I believe that's what they said his research was pertaining to, if I'm not mistaken. So, family, there's definitely a lot going on with this coronavirus situation. I'm not gonna devalue the entire medical institution, but clearly, at some stage in the manufacturing, there is some erroneous activity, there is some dastardly activity taking place. And so I would urge everyone who is in administrations of various countries in the third world, particularly in the third world black countries, we need to be very vigilant and ensure that anything imported is, you know, forensically inspected and forensically cleaned to ensure that we are not being deliberately infected by certain strange characters. Okay, family? But let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all these dynamics. One love.